Alright ladies and gents, welcome to 11 symptoms of fasting. And just as with the previous video that I did, the 6 benefits of fasting, this won't be a comprehensive list. This is basically what I experienced during my fasts and also what I've read as common symptoms on the fasting forums which I frequent on Reddit. So the way I'm going to do this video is I will list all the symptoms just quickly, and then I'm going to group them into ones that I think are more avoidable, because some of the symptoms I experienced during the first fast I managed to avoid in the second fast through proper electrolyte intake and also through proper insulin intake, which if you don't have diabetes you have to worry about the latter, but those particular symptoms, even though I experienced them based on the fact that I didn't have enough insulin on board, I think that some other people do experience them for other reasons which I'll get into later on in this video. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Oh, another thing I should probably mention is that all of these symptoms I started having after sort of day 3-4ish. The first few days I had absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. However, I have read online that some people start experiencing some of these symptoms straight away, so just something to be aware of. So the first symptom is dizziness or lightheadedness, especially when standing up quickly. Symptom number 2 is having cramp-like feeling in legs and arms, especially legs. Symptom number 3 is having like a pre-cold type feeling, so you know the feeling you get like a couple of days before you're going to get a cold, so you feel like you're going to be a bit ill but you're not actually ill at the time. So this is something I experienced day 3-4 of the first fast. Symptom number 4 was aches and, well, like a dull ache in my arms and legs, so this is different from a cramp-like feeling. This was sort of a persistent achiness. However, it was kind of intermittent, so although it was persistent for a little while, it faded away after a little while as well. But this is something that I've read as quite a common symptom as well, experienced by quite a lot of other people. Symptom number 5 is a slight feeling of nausea or sickness, and this is something I experienced during day 4 and 5 of the first fast. Symptom number 6 is actually being sick and feeling like death, which is something that's quite rare from what I've read, and this was personally due to not taking enough insulin in the first fast. So if you have diabetes and you're planning on fasting, then definitely recommend making sure you've got the right amount of insulin on board. But yeah, I feel like this is definitely an avoidable symptom. Symptom number 7 is just having slightly less energy, and by slightly less energy I mean I still have plenty of energy to do sort of daily tasks and things like that, but I wouldn't have had quite as much energy if I was to go for a run or do something quite high intensity. Number 8 is having cold hands and feet more often, and I think this is mainly well, especially when I wasn't moving around a lot, when I was doing some video editing or if I was just sitting down watching videos. And this was kind of an intermittent thing, so I noticed that when I got up and did some movement then this would go away, but I seem to have more often have cold hands and feet than I would usually. Symptom number 9 is just feeling more cold, more like generally, and once again I think this is related to movement. So when I found I was sitting down watching videos and stuff like that, then I would get a lot more cold more quickly. But once again, if I started moving, I went for a walk or something like that, then I would sort of warm up and get back to sort of a usual temperature. Symptom number 10 was more difficulty getting to sleep, and this is something that I didn't struggle too much with in the second fast, because I started taking a magnesium supplement a couple of hours before bed, and magnesium is supposed to help with sleep. It also wasn't too much of an issue generally. There's some days when I'm not fasting when I have equal amount of problems getting to sleep, although for those that know me, I don't usually have much problem sleeping, so yeah, this wasn't really a serious symptom at all. And symptom number 11 was like a tingling feeling in my little finger and third finger, which was kind of an intermittent thing. It wasn't like a permanent, persistent thing. But I was quite interested in this one because this happened both fasts, and I'm not entirely sure why, so if you happen to know why, it's obviously something to do with nerves, but yeah, if you happen to know any more information on that, then please pop a comment in the comment section below, because I'll be interested to hear about that one. Right, okay, so there were the 11 symptoms of fasting. Apologies if you can hear the fridge, by the way, it keeps making a racket. I don't know why fridges make so much noise. But yeah, anyway, going off topic a little bit there. The two symptoms which were down to electrolyte imbalances or not enough electrolytes were cramp-like feeling in my legs and arms, and also lightheadedness and dizziness, especially when standing up quickly. And these are the two symptoms that I had in the first fast, but once I'd made my electrolyte concoction for the second fast, I stopped having them. So these are definitely two of the more avoidable symptoms. Four of the other symptoms, which I think are more of the avoidable ones and were down to me not taking enough insulin on board in the first fast, were the aches in my arms and legs, the pre-cold type feeling like I'm just about to get a cold in the next couple of days, the feeling of nausea and sickness, and also the feeling that actually being sick and feeling like death. And as I say, I think that's due to me not taking enough insulin towards the end of that first fast. However, I have heard of other people experiencing even being sick and things like that, and I think that that's probably due to the way that people transition onto the fast. You know, if a person's coming from like a standard diet, lots of processed foods, unhealthy foods, and also eating regularly, and then going straight into a fast, and that can potentially make be a bit more shock to the system and potentially lead to someone being sick or feeling sick. So that's why I think some of the people who don't have diabetes experience these sort of things. However, for me personally, I didn't experience any of those in the second fast, and I think it was the only reason I experienced them in the first fast, as I say, was down to not taking enough insulin on board. So that only really leaves a few symptoms left to address, really, and that's the tingling feeling in the fingers, which I'm not too sure if that's going to be sort of just a general symptom that's unavoidable. The cold feeling, both in hands and feet, and also just generally, seems to be avoidable through just doing more moving around a bit, going for walks, doing some press-ups or whatever. Just something sort of some mild exercise just to sort of get the blood pumping. Someone's at the door, and the last one has completely thrown me. So I'll see you in the next clip. Right, I'm back, and the difficulty getting to sleep. But as I say, that wasn't really a serious problem anyway, especially after taking the magnesium supplement. So the only two symptoms that I can see that are unavoidable is the sort of ebb and flow of energy levels, especially after sort of day 3-4ish, and also the tingling feeling, which I'm not sure if everyone experiences that, but I have I've read of several people experiencing that. But every other symptom seems to be avoidable either through proper electrolyte intake, proper insulin intake, and obviously if you don't have diabetes, then that's nothing to worry about. And proper transition onto a fast, either through some intermittent fasting beforehand, so steadily decreasing the sort of the time window of eating, and also just eating healthy generally, so eating like whole foods, and trying to avoid all the sort of packaged processed rubbish that's kind of pushed upon us by some very successful advertising companies. And yeah, that's a subject for a different time, I think. So yeah, it really only comes down to those couple of symptoms, the energy levels, which, as I say, I still have plenty of energy to do daily things. It's just more high intensity cardio that I probably would have struggled with, and the tingly feeling, which wasn't painful at all. It was just a kind of fuzzy type feeling in my fingers, and as I say, that was intermittent as well. It wasn't a permanent thing. So anyway, I think that's kind of wraps up all the symptoms I experienced and some of the more common symptoms which I've read about. And I will be posting a video on sort of fasting advice from what I've experienced so far, and how to avoid the symptoms through a proper electrolyte drink and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that one, and thanks for watching. Please pop any comments, questions and queries down below in the comment section, and I shall see you in the next one.